Fani Willis, the Fulton County District Attorney who is prosecuting the former president, Donald Trump, for election interference in Georgia. She has admitted to having an improper relationship with her lead prosecutor. I mean, this is
a big admission.
Yeah.
Up until this point, she has said she will not speak on this. Right. But she was required to respond to those allegations, and now she has.
Yeah, this is according to court documents, by the way, a court filing, which we're just getting in right now. We will have a reporter on this coming up really shortly. But, just talking about the context here, of course, being here in Georgia, she is at the helm of this prosecution against the former president. And there have been, members of the GOP, particularly those who are Trump supporters, who have been saying, we've got
a conflict of interest, essentially, because the person who she's admitting to having this affair with is someone she hired to be a part of this case against Donald Trump and his allies. So this is really a pivotal moment and could be a big turning point when it comes to this Georgia election interference
case. That's exactly right. And, just because there is an admission of having a relationship, what else did she say in that court filing? Does she believe that it is, conflict of interest? What does she have to say about that? And there's still some questions about what exactly she had to say.
Right, and really at the heart of this is the money that was used to pay him to be part of this team was then turned around, and she benefited from it because there's accusations that she went on trips and they went on vacations together.
Lots of layers to the accusations.
Certainly so. National political correspondent Avajoy Burnett is with us now. Avajoy, you have been following this. This is, you sent a message saying we got this in and you ran to report it. So Willis was up against this big deadline today. So what can you tell us about how this went down?
The deadline was today. Of course, close of business for many of these courthouses could be 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So there was always a possibility that we would have to wait to the end of the day. But here we have it right around 1 o'clock, sometime after 1. We're now learning that there's this court filing. We're still trying to get all of the details on the filing. But the headline news, the breaking news right now is that she is admitting to having had a relationship with Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade is the special prosecutor who was hired to help oversee this Georgia election interference case against the former president, Donald Trump, and several other co-defendants. And I want to bring you guys back to what happened in early January. Around January 8th, we got reporting that one of those co-defendants, Michael Roman, said that made the accusation that Fani Willis, the district attorney who's at the helm of this investigation, was having an inappropriate relationship with Nathan Wade, the special prosecutor who she hired to help oversee this case. You ladies referenced this, that many people said this was problematic because it could have potentially been a conflict of interest. But then the time went along. We heard the allegations, but we heard nothing official from Fani Willis on this matter until today. We're getting to this point today because the judge who's overseeing this case, Judge Scott McAfee, he wanted for her to have, he set a deadline for her to file a response to these allegations today. And it's very interesting. If you've watched this process play out, there was a hearing maybe about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, where it was really the elephant in the room. There were other proceedings that were going on, other matters revolving around this case, but it wasn't really touched on. The judge said he wanted to wait to hear of a response from Fani Willis before he set a court date to discuss this. And then when he didn't hear anything, he said that she had to respond by today, February 2nd. And so now we have this filing. I still have to go over all of the details, but we now have this filing where she is admitting to that relationship. Of course, the big question now is what happens to this massive RICO case that involves the former president? We know that many people have said this has been something that is extremely politicized. Legal watchers are saying that she should recuse herself. Possibly Nathan Wade should recuse herself. There are other people who are saying she should not have to recuse herself. But now that there is this main admission of a relationship with someone who she hired, we have to look at the timeline of events. When did this happen? Was it before she hired him or after she hired him? all of these questions will need to be answered. And all of this is looming as we still wait to hear when the trial will move forward in this matter. We know that Fani Willis sometime last year hinted at the possibility of having something happen in the summer months. It's ultimately up to the judge to figure out exactly when we will have a trial in this matter that involves more than a dozen people, including a former president who's running for the office of the presidency once again. And so with all of the proceedings that are running concurrently, here is yet another thing that needs to be added into the mix to be sorted out. And speaking about sorting things out, there will be a hearing on February 15th in less than 2 weeks, or just about 2 weeks, where Fani Willis has been subpoenaed to testify. She was subpoenaed by the attorney who represents Michael Roman to testify, and we could potentially hear everything come out in full court on this particular matter, or if not everything, then many things. We must also note that Nathan Wade has also been subpoenaed to testify on February 15th. And yesterday I spoke with a former federal prosecutor to understand how these things work out. If Fani Willis is not able to give a good enough reason on why she's not supposed to testify on February 15th, she will have to do so with many people watching. Remember, these proceedings are streamed live online.
Significant development here. Thank you, Abijoy Burnett, for coming on immediately and bringing us this news with the context we need to know.